Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together in what we call the boot camp, also called the sanctuary. And today we are rotating back to another limb of the yogic practice, more like the asana, something that you normally practice in the U.S., which is really the body. And the exercise that we do at the very end will be called the Yi Jing Jing, YJJ, which stands for exchange renewal of, sometimes translated into tendon, but it's actually more like connected tissue. It's another word for the energy channels in us. So we're going to start by doing some massage, some tapping, some acupressure, different modality to basically clear the energy path. And for those of you who are new, it's another way of looking at our existence, that our existence is not just a collection of physical organs, but it's actually a combination of physical, um, spiritual, and also energy existence. Okay, all right. So towards the end, I hope we have enough time to do a what's called a metta meditation, meditating on compassion and loving kindness. For those of you who follow the monks who are traveling, just leaving Selma this morning, they've been traveling from Texas, and they've been on the road. Um, and one of the things that I noticed is that in the beginning they didn't get much attention, so they were basically spending overnight by the side of the freeway, um, and so forth. And then as they gain some um, um, recognition, they're being housed in sometimes in churches and sometimes in like last night it was in a high school. And one of the things that I noticed is that people from all walks of life, all colors of the skin, all educations, all come out to greet them. And obviously, many of them are not Buddhists. Probably never even seen a monk for the first time. Probably seen the monk for the first time. But one of the things that you notice is that they're very open to them. They feel the warmth, the energy, and all that. And that's something I've been talking about, is that we all possess what we call the Buddha nature. Ultimately, we possess loving kindness, compassion, empathy, and equanimity. It's just that often um, they're like the sun, and we don't see the sun because we have clouds, or we turn our back to them, just like the earth and the sun. And when you see these monks, they're Thai monks, but they're actually the home is a Vietnamese temple in Texas, and these are very well, very um, uh, practiced individual. They're pretty amazing people, and so they are able to manage their anger, all the emotions, and you when you get close to them, you actually really feel the energy in them, the what I call the Buddha nature. And so it doesn't matter what religion you come from, and when you're in the presence of such enlightenment, you open yourself. It's like the sunshine through your own cloud, and so it's a thing to see. And one of the things that they always do is what they call the metta meditation. And so we'll do that if we have time. Okay, so let's get on. All right, so we're going to start with the fingertips, work our way all the way down to the toes, and then we're going to be working to the top of the head and on all the way to the bottom of the feet. These are what I call extremities, which actually include the ears, and you can think of them as the energy exchange points. So we start with those because if they were blocked, then they basically block the circulation of energy. So let's start with the left hand, and we're going to take the right thumb and just very mindfully massage the fingertips. Okay, mindfully means that we keep checking our mind and asking ourselves, where's my mind? My mind should be on my fingertip. And once you anchor your mind on the fingertip, then you focus on the sensation. All right. All right. So now we're going to move from the fingertips to the joint, starting with the left hand. And we can use the thumb again and just massage each of the joints from the left to the center to the right, back to the center. And then we're going to move from one joint in another and always check the mind and say, where's my mind? Where is it? Okay, it should be on the finger, it should be on the joint. So what I do once I anchor my mind on the joint, let's focus on the sensation, on the sensation. And we're just gonna focus on the sensation and see if we feel any comfort, any pleasant feeling, any unpleasant feeling, any physical sensation like sweat, pain, numbness, and just that's all we're gonna do. Just focus on that. Now we're going to go from the left to the right, again, one joint at a time. And as you do this exercise, even with the fingers, you start to feel some warmth in your body because you're actually relieving some of the blockage of what we call chi, life energy. Now, this kind of energy, the chi, is not the energy that you generate with your body, but energy that actually exists in the universe, and you want it to pass through your body. All right. So now we're done with the. Well, that's one more thing. We just kind of massage the length of the fingers now. Okay. Massage the length of the fingers from the left to the right, and I want you to really focus on your body and then now we're going to turn around and then we're going to massage the fingertips again, but this time we're going to massage the corners of each of the fingernail. That's often the starting point of what we call the yang energy, the energy channel that is influenced by the sun because it's facing the sun. Okay, so one finger at a time. And then now we're going to massage the joints from the back of the hand again around. After you finish one, you move on to the next one. You keep focusing, keep anchoring your mind on your body, and keep observing the change in your body and focus on the sensations. Some of those are pleasant, some of those are unpleasant, some of those are neutral. There's no, it just is neither pleasant or unpleasant. One joint at a time. Okay, now we're going to massage the length of the finger from the back of the hand. Now, keep in mind that we're actually doing meditation, right? This is meditation in motion. One finger at a time. One finger at a time. All right. Okay. So now we're going to start from the fingertips and move on. And first we're going to do is we're going to massage a bunch of energy points that are facing the sun. And we call that the yang energy, which is really the energetic energy. So you think about the yang facing the sun, and like the caveman, when they go out, they're very energetic, right? They're hunting, they're running away from danger, or they're running towards danger. Either way. And when they're home, back in the cave, then that's the yin, that's the absence of sun, that's restorative. All right. So so we're gonna massage. If you open up your fingers, and we're just gonna massage the valley, okay, in between the fingers, and then we're gonna massage in between the knuckles, and then we're gonna massage the back of the hand in between the individual bones. Okay, now back to this hand. First, we're gonna massage the valley. You can take your thumb, use the edge of the thumb. Now, these actually are important energy points. And then we're going to massage in between the knuckles. And then we're going to massage the back of the hand in between the finger bones. All right. Now we're going to pick with there's three energy points on the yang side facing the sun. One actually starts with the ring fingers and run down. The other one starts with the pinky, run down, and then one starts with the thumb. The one that starts with the thumb is the one that we name after the large intestines. The one that run down from the pinkies is the one that we name after the small intestines. And then the one that starts in the ring fingers is actually a very important energy line called the triple warmer. And I mentioned this before, that's a mistranslation because the word in Chinese can mean focus and heat. but actually is a abbreviated form of an older word that meant membrane. So triple warmer meant the triple compartments separated by membrane. There's the diaphragm that separate what's above, which is the heart and the lung, and then there's the belly button that separates what's below, which are the kidneys, bladders, the intestines, from what's in the middle, which are the stomach, the liver, the spleen, and and gallbladder and so forth. And so this is actually a very important energy line. And so let's just start with that. So now you bend your elbow, no, not elbow, bend your wrist, and you come down here and you feel a dimple right here. So I want you to do some acupressure right here. Okay. Now the other one is from the thumb, and one way to find this is if you bend your thumb, and then in the right here there's a cavity. If you can see it right here. Okay. Now if you take your thumb, you bend it, you come down from here, and you feel a cavity, and so you press on that, and then from the pinky there's another one. You press on that. Okay. All right. Same thing over here, and one right here. Press one right here. Press one right here. Press. Okay. This is all there to clear the channel. All right. So you notice that we work mostly with the four digits. We left out the thumb because the thumb actually requires it's a lot of attention. So I want you to use the right thumb and massage the left thumb all the way around, all the way around, and then do the same thing on the other side. Now there's a muscle, there's a piece of muscle. If you think of your thumb as like the drumstick, it would be the meaty part of the drumstick. This is actually very important that reflects your heart. And so I want you to make a pincher out of the thumb and the index fingers and just pinch this whole area, and then do the same thing on the other side. You might feel a little bit of soreness. Okay. And then I want you to use a knuckle and just press in the middle, which is the energy point. And this is the lung, so this is probably L3. I'm not sure. And then this one over here, same thing. Now I want you to do the same thing in the middle. The middle is part of what we call the pericardiums. There's two energy lines in here that are associated with the heart. Now the Chinese doesn't separate heart from the mind. They think that they're related. So this one is named after the heart, but it's more had to do with the mind, right? And this one is a pericardium, which is all the outside of the heart. And right here, there's an energy point right in the center of the palm. So I want you to use that, put a little bit of pressure in here and put a little pressure in here. And as I mentioned many times, this is the only energy point in the entire body that gives out energy. So this is why this is called the healing hand. So it's good that we do a little bit of work here and then we put it together and rub it. And when you do this, I want you to focus on it as if you're bringing out the healing power of your palm. Then I want you to take the right hand, put it on top of the left hand. First, we're going to massage the valley. Then we're going to massage both the center of the palm and the back of the hand, as well as in between the fingers. And then do the same thing on the other side. First, the valley, then the back of the hand, in between the fingers, back to the center of the palm again. Okay, now I want you to take the fingers and just pull them one at a time. You notice that we're really doing a lot of work with the fingers, right? Because not only that they're the extremities, but typically as we age, we have arthritis. And fingers are the places where we see them most obvious. Arthritis is chronic inflammation. It's just another form of chronic inflammation. It's just that we give it a different name. Okay. So by doing massage on the fingers, you relieve some of your arthritis problem, right? So if you look at my fingers, I'm 69 years old. They look pretty straight. The only exception is my thumb, but that's by the time I got to it, it was too late. So you notice that like there's a protrusion. That's very typical, right? When you have arthritis, you have protrusions on the joint hurts and they swell and all that. So if you do exercise like we just did, that would help with the arthritis. but it actually creates the energy flow in you. I already feel very warm, right? That's very typical. So there are two things that you wanted to check on to make sure that you are actually unleashing your self healing power. One is whether or not you feel warmth in your body. Typically, our feet are very, very cold because it takes a lot of work to get there. And so as we age, first thing we notice is that the bottom of the feet is very cold. And I don't know if you notice, but as we exercise, our feet get warm. That's the one good thing. The second thing is that pay attention to what I said. And when I say that you focus your mind on your fingers, you anchor your mind on your body, I'm asking you to meditate. I'm asking you to do mindfulness meditation. It's just that we're doing it while we're moving. And one of the things that it does when you do mindfulness meditation, when you anchor your mind either on your breath or on your body, is that you return yourself back to the rest and digest. But when you return yourself back to the rest and digest, away from the fight or flight, the first thing it does is that it reactivates your saliva gland. So you notice that I don't drink water. I have it as an emergency, and I can be here for 2 hours, nonstop talking, nonstop exercise, and I still have to keep up with my slider. And slider is a very, very good thing. It's a very, very good thing. Now, there's three kinds of fluid that you can experience in your tongue. One is phlegm, right? So that's not good. That means that something is coming up from your lung or coming down from your nose. It's a sign of some kind of inflammation. So you don't want that. The other one is that very often you feel some kind of like foam, right, in your mouth, and or for one reason or another. And those are not good either. What you really want are the fluid that actually comes from the tongue, from inside the tongue and back up. And those are what the Chinese call J letter. So I know in the West we focus a lot on hydration, right? You drink a lot of water during the day. I do. It's very rare that I would actually drink water. I drink tea in the morning. I drink coffee, and then I drink tea, and I drink a little bit of wine. But very rarely would I actually drink water, except after the exercise. After the exercise, I drink a little bit of water to kind of clear out my system. But beyond that, I don't actually drink water. I don't hydrate. But what I do is I self hydrate. I really make sure that I'm in rest and digest. And the way that I know is that I have plenty of saliva, right? Very important, very important. Something overlooked by the West. All right, so now we're ready to do some Qigong exercise with the fingers. And the first one focus on the five fingers as the five elements. The five elements are when the five elements is in harmony, then there's life. And when you think about all the planets that exist or within our within our sphere of awareness, only Earth can support life right now, or at least the life form that we know. And now I'm sure there are others as we explore the universe. But when you look at what makes the earth special, well, we have water, we have vegetation, we have the atmosphere such that we can have just the right amount of sun, we have soil, and then finally we have mineral, right? So the water actually um, promotes vegetation. Vegetations, once you have plants, plant life, they release carbon dioxide and it actually regulates the atmosphere that the sun comes in. And when the sun comes in, it activates the soil and then the soil creates mineral adds back to the water, and now the water is actually drinkable, right? We talk about how important it is to have mineral in the water. And so that's how the earth kind of activates itself, but it also kind of restrained itself. The water restrains fire, fire restrains the um, what does the fire restrain? The fire restrains the vegetation, vegetation restrains the soil restrains the water. It kind of goes so if you draw a 5 point star, one goes like this, and then the other one go across. The point is that our body stays healthy when the five elements are working, right? The 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 lung is the mineral, the kidney is the water, the liver is the soil, and then the heart is the sun. All five has to work together. Now the Chinese actually believe those five elements in everything. And I remember Martha said that when she practiced, they practiced with the sound. So the Chinese music instrument, and actually Indian too, is that they focus on the five sound, and each one represents an element. And so these days, I actually when I in the morning, I have my breakfast, and then I sit on my chair to finish my coffee, and then I turn on the YouTube. My YouTube is connected to TV, and I listen to Indian music, sitar music, and I find that they're very, very um, therapeutic, right? Because they contain the five sounds. So again, a long way of explaining why we do this finger exercise. The Chinese believes that fingers represents the five elements and indirectly represents the energies that are within us. So this is very famous exercise. It helps to reduce chronic inflammation. One of the things that it does, it helps is to reduce your chance of having a stroke, which is inflammation. All right, so now, meaning that when we do Qigong, it's always important to do it with the right posture. Understanding now that all the yang energy eventually come back to your spine, your spine. The spine is what we call the guardian vessel. So I want you to sit, focus on the bottom of your spine, and I look it up. There are 23 discs in the spine, and which correspond to 23 energy points. And so I want you to walk up the spine. Imagine that you're going from one disc to another. The disc is actually the materials that are between the joint. And I want you to imagine stretching your spine as if you're relieving the pressure on both sides of the disc. And I want you to move one joint at a time towards the top of your head as if you're hanging your spine on the ceiling. I want you to keep stretching and stretch and stretch and stretch. Then I want you to lean back and then relax. Now I want you to take both hands. I want you to lock your thumb and the index finger together, the tip, the fingers tip touching. Then I want you to squeeze as hard as you can. Then I want you to take the thumb and the middle fingers and lock them together and squeeze as hard as you can. Then the ring finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Then the little finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Now I want you to come back, put the thumb in the middle of the index finger and squeeze as hard as you can. And then squeeze as hard as you can. And then squeeze as hard as you can. And finally to the little finger and squeeze as hard as you can. All right. Now you notice that I practice with you, and very often I close my eyes. I just close my eyes because two things you want to do when you practice mindfulness. You want to reduce your anxiety. You really want to get away from fight or flight. And one of the things you wanted to do is you want to just do one thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. So you just focus on your body, your breath, and not let it drift away. Because as soon as it's drift away, then you go back into the fight or flight. So I usually close my eye. I either anchor it on my body or anchor on my breath. And the other reason I close my eyes is that I really don't want to know that you're out there. I want to create a space of my own. And that way, I have no expectation. I'm not judging. I'm just feeling the sensation. And this is actually very important. It actually allows you to move away from your intellect, which is your brain, and move towards your spine. Your spine is where you feel the sensation. So when our fingers touches an object, when the eye look at something, basically it's going from physics to physiology, and then from physiology to neurology, and all the nerve ending actually first end up in the spine. And there's a study that says that that speed of propagation is about 10 billion times a second, very fast. Now, once you get into the spine, it get all collected and it goes into the brain. That's the intellect. That actually slows down to only 10 times a second. So there's a billion times faster process speed in the sensation, and then it just slows down, right? Once you start to judge and using your brain, and this is one of the things that separate a spiritual practice from everyday living, is that we want to de-emphasize the brain and use more of your spine. And that's why when you see professional sport basketball player, or you want to see people who play golf, people who are in the Olympics, they don't think. They don't think, right? They just do what they do, right? They create a zone, and the samurais they do that, right? They just feel it, but they don't think it, right? And so this is important. Is that I close my eye, I just feel my body, feel my breath, and I create a zone for myself. Okay, all right. Now the second exercise continue with the finger, but this time it's a different philosophy, which is that the fingers is actually the beginning of evolution, right? The reasons that we are intellectually um, more endowed than other species is because we were the first to know how to use a thumb, so we can break off a branch from the tree, use it as a defensive weapons, walk down the tree, and start to live in the wild, right? So the fingers actually is tied to our neurological health, just like the dogs they use the smell, the cats they use the sight. Every animal has a beginning point for the evolution. So here, humans are the fingers. So the fingers actually are tied to the brain, tied to neurological health. The other thing is that it's actually the balance between the left brain and the right brain, right? And I mentioned this before. My father died of dementia. As I look back, I realized that the beginning of his illness was not that he lost his memory or that he lost his uh, um, thinking, but that he lost balance. Right. So this exercise deals with the fingers, its association with our neurological health, but also allows us to use the left brain and the right brain separately. So it's very simple. So first we stretch the spine, lift up our shoulder, open our shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Then we take our right hand, right? If you can close your eye, just listen, and which means that we're using a left brain. And now we're going to control these fingers one at a time. First, we take the thumb, we bring it in. Then we take two fingers, bring that in. Then we go to the index fingers and finally to the small fingers. Now we bring down our right hand, lift up our left hand. We're using our right brain now. So first the thumb, then two fingers, index and little fingers. Then we bring them up. We squeeze as hard as we can. We leave behind the right hand, again using the left thumb. We open the fingers one at a time, but in reverse order. Small fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Now the left, small fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Then we stretch as hard as we can. And then we say to ourselves, that was the first. Now we're ready for the second. And we go to the right hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as you can. Right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And stretch as hard as we can. Say to yourself, one more. You're going to do the third time with the last one. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, index, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as you can. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as we can. Now we're going to put the palms together, fingers tips together. We're going to push them as hard as we can. Then we're going to lift up our elbow. We're going to keep the palms together and we're going to bring down the hands, feeling the stress on the wrist. And then we're going to come back and we're going to start doing some tapping. And keep in mind that when we tap, we're actually generating a vibration. Okay, generate vibration. So You kind of think about your fingers as your musical instrument. And not only do you have to stay focused on the fingertip, I want you to feel the vibrations as you tap them 30 times. Get ready? Go. Now I want you to cross the fingers so the valley of the fingers are touching. Again, 30 times, feeling the vibration. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to continue some tapping, but this time we're going to tap first the palm, then the back of the hand. The palm is yin, and three energy, and the one energy line coming from the small fingers, one energy coming from the thumb. So this is the meaty part of the thumb. This is the meaty part of the small fingers. So I want you to put the palms together, forming a V, and tap the meaty part. Okay, get ready, go. And then now we're going to do the opposite with the thumb, pointing the palm down, forming a V. Get ready, go. Okay, and then now we're going to go to the yang side. The yang side of the heart is the small intestine, which is kind of wild. And there's a study that says that Parkinson, right, because this is the mind, the Parkinson is associated with digestive health, right, or lack of. And so that makes a lot of sense. And so this energy line is on the edge of the palm facing the sun. So if you bend your palm, you see this line is right here. This time we're going to put our palms flat, roll our fingers, right? And we're going to tap this energy point 30 times. Now, this is actually a magical point that is associated with your back, right? This one is actually called the stream in the back, if I translate literally. So it actually is associated there. So I want you to sit up straight again and then lean back and relax and then put your fists together like this, right? 30 times. Okay, now the yang side of the lung is the large intestines. So if you think about the lung has two functions. One is that it takes in the oxygen, and the other one is that it actually transport the toxins, which would be the carbon dioxide. Well, something that is very close to that is the large intestines, right? It's also there to release toxins. So that makes a lot of sense. So this one is called the valley, the emerging valley. So if you open up your thumb and index finger, you push down, it's right here. And so we're going to tap this one 30 times with this energy point. So small intestines and large intestine at the same time. Get ready, go. And then the other side. Okay. Now, lately I find that there's a practice that is getting very popular in China. It's called the 3-1-2. Irony is that it was invented in China a long time ago, but it never got noticed until the Europeans started to practice it. And so the question is that what is 3-1-2? It's basically everything that we do here and more, right? Well, we do more. It's basically everything that we do here includes 3-2-1. So what is three? Three is three energy points that they believe are important to relieve yourself of high blood pressure. Now, high blood pressure, I mentioned, is a very serious problem. And because the The reasons for high blood pressure is often unknown. It comes down to two categories. One is that you're anxious all the time. You're creating stress hormone all the time. So it makes sense that when you create so much stress hormone, then the heart has to keep up, and so the blood pressure is increased. The other reasons that you would have high blood pressure is that you fundamentally have deficiency in your heart and the lung. The heart and the lung works together, right? The lung is the one that brings in the oxygen, and then it gives it to the lung brings in the oxygen, and then it gives it to the heart. The heart puts the oxygens in the blood cell, use iron to store the oxygen, and then they transport to the rest of the body. So if you have a deficiency of your lung and your heart, you also have high blood pressure. The problem is that when you go to a doctor, they would just give you high blood pressure medicine, right? Because they want to you know, they want to kill the only weakness they got, and they eliminate your problem. But anyway, high blood pressure is very serious. And so these 312, you might want to look it up, 312 meridian practice. And if I find the right article, I found lots of Chinese article, just not the English one. I'll post it and so we can all share. All right. And 312, what is three? Three is three energy point. This one right here, this one right here, and then one is in the lower part of the body. I'll mention that. That's three. And this one is known for reducing low blood pressure, high blood pressure by relieving your working with the large intestine. This one is part of the pericardium, so that's known for um, improving the vitality of your heart. And then what is one? One means abdominal breathing. So we do that last week. We're going to do that again. Why is that so important? Because it cycles you between the sympathetic and parasympathetic neurons, creating that harmony between the yin and the yang. And so um, that's very important. And what is the last one? 312. Two means the second heart. It's the calf. It's the calf. Calf is the second heart. And so we do a lot of that later on when we do the Yi Jing Jing. We do the whole thing, standing and unlocking the knee, which means that we're activating the calf. And then at the end we do a jump. That's also for the calf, right? So we do a lot of that here already. So let's do some acupressure, particularly the two energy points that I mentioned that is part of the 312. This one is very important and it's very easy to find. And so you first identify this ridge, then you have identified this line. You put the line on the ridge and you push down. Now the trick is that it's actually not straight down, but towards the index finger. So you want to take your right hand and you wrap it around. So you put the fingers on the outside and you press, right? Then you're pressing down, but towards the index finger. And you feel a little bit of numbness here, right? So you want to do that. The other one, you push down and then you wrap it around and you push. Okay. The second one is at the wrist, you measure three fingers down, put your thumb in the inside, four fingers on the outside, and you apply a little bit of pressure. And then over here. Okay. And then there's one more. All right. Well, we'll do that. All right. So let's catch up and we'll do some scraping now. Now, there's a lot of misunderstanding about scraping, or we call what sa. What means scrape? Sa means sand. So very often when the professional do it, or also when your body is not well, and you scrape and you get a lot of red thing on it, and they call that the sand, wasa. And so very often they would say, "Oh, see, I relieve some toxins in you." The toxins are not like that. The toxins are released in your lung, in your urine, right? And also, through your large intestines, not through the blood like that. What you're doing when you see the sand, is because there are blood trapped in the connective tissue, okay, in the energy channel. But most of the time we don't see that because, especially, I never see it because I'm healthy. All right, now I want to do this systematically, And I want to identify the three meridians that are inside the arm and three that are outside. And by the way, this is a ruler that was part of the diary of my mother-in-law. So this is over 100-year-old. And this is 1 foot in Chinese measurement, right? But you can use anything. You can use guasa tool. You can use a soy salt dish. You can use, someone mentioned the cap of a jar, or you can use your knuckle. I always carry my knuckle. So when I fly, when I'm somewhere else, I'll just take that and then do that with the knuckle. This is a good thing, right? But here I want to demonstrate that you can use something else. And so I want you to identify the center of the inside of your arm, that is the pericardium. And I want you to start at the elbow. There's an energy point here, very important. And then it just go along until you get to the part where where you normally wear a watch. That's the inner gate that I mentioned. One of the three, two, 1, 2 practice. When you get to the wrist, then I want you to come back, scrape along. And then I want you to move up, but identify the bone. Inside the bone is the lung meridian, again from the elbow to the wrist and then back. And then scrape along the bone. Then scrape on outside of the bone from the elbow to the wrist. And then scrape in the middle. That was the large intestine, and now we are in the triple warmer. Then scrape the back of the hand, especially when you have, if you have arthritis. This really is a very pleasant pain thing. I like it, right? And then back, and now along the small fingers, that's a small intestine, and then just keep rotating your hand as you come back to the center. And now along the small fingers, the 4 inches around here, you want to scrape that. And this is very well known now on Instagram, and people discover that this actually improve the quality of your sleep. And then back to the elbow, and then on this side. Okay. Now this is particularly good exercise if you have carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel is a form of uh, chronic inflammation, right? So you do this, back of the hand, back, one, rotate the hand, and then down here. Okay. All right. So I do this. I do it when I need it. Sometimes when I need it, I could be doing it 3 or 4 times a day. Sometimes I even do it in the middle of the night when I wake up and I feel the warmth on my hand. I know that it's carpal tunnel. So I just, you know, like that, and then go back to sleep. I have something like that by my bed. Okay. All right. So now we are ready for the next exercise, um, which basically works from the fingertips all the way to the elbow. Again, it's very good if you have carpal tunnel. Okay. So stretch, lift up, lean back, open, and then relax. Now I want you to point all fingers towards the camera. Close your eye. I want you to roll up 4 fingers and lock it with your thumb. And then the 4 fingers are the spring. I want you to wind up the 4 fingers, but lock it with your thumb. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I want you to come back, open that shoulder, lean back, relax. Then I want you to take the hand, lock the thumb with the middle fingers, and stretch out the other three. This is called the lotus hand. Now I want you to put that in front of your shoulder. Once again, open the shoulder and then relax. Back of the hand facing the camera. Get ready. 1, back of the hand facing the camera. It's important that you twist your arm like that. Get ready. Come back. Sit up straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? You feel the energy? Okay. All lots of energy. Okay? All right, so now we're moving towards the top of the head. And one of the passage for energy is in the neck. For those of you who have high blood pressure, you actually, the body is telling you that you want more blood into your head. And unfortunately, you're taking high blood pressure medicine, which means that you're not getting the blood flow that you need. And you tend to develop lots of pain and ache in this part of the area, in the neck and so forth. So this is massage that you want to do. So I want you to take your thumb, lock your fingers, put it in the back of the head, use your thumb, and then find that cavity on both sides of your neck and just kind of massage that. That's called the pond of wind. It's part of the gallbladder energy, right? You'll find that a lot of the energy points associated with the gallbladder are named after wind. Now, wind is something you cannot see, cannot taste, cannot smell. You can only feel. So that's what we call nerve. Okay? All right, so now I want you to take the finger and apply some pressure as if you're pushing down on a rubber tube. And I want you to lean back with your neck to provide some counter pressure and hold it. And then relax. Now I want you to take the right hand, put that on the left side, press down, and then grab your neck and pull from the left to the right as if you're opening a channel. Same thing on the other side. Press down with the four fingers and grab the right side and towards the left. Okay? Now I want you to lift up your left ear and use your hand. And there's a cavity right here. And just massage that. This is part of the triple warmer energy line. And then I want you to kind of massage across. And then same thing on the side, lift up your right ear, massage the bottom of the ear, and then massage across. Now I want you to press down the corner of your left ear, then massage on top. And then massage down. Do the same thing on the other side, and then down. Now I want you to come back, and this is the corner of the ear. This is the pond of wind. And then right in the middle, on top of the bone, slide down slightly, right? And you press down, massage, and you feel, oh, that's a lot of stress right here. And this one is actually important to improve the quality of sleep. Spur for that. Okay, so now I want you to massage the neck, but massage through the energy point. So back to this two, massage. In the middle, massage. And then right here, massage. And then use your right thumb and just massage the right side. Use your left thumb, massage the left side. And then back, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay? All right. So that's how you massage your neck. Now I want you to massage out. There's three tendons that are important for longevity. One is the bottom of the feet, and I mentioned that. The other one is right here, actually. Right here. And then the third one is in the back of your knee. Right? Those are called longevity tendons, and they actually associate with the sky, the earth, and the man. Right? Man, you not necessarily male man, but just human. All right. So now this one actually, there's a saying that says that the sky tendon is hidden in the eye. So it actually starts with the eye and come down. Right? That's why one of the exercises that we do is we turn our eyes to look at the back. That's for the same reason. So I want you to sit up straight and then turn your head to the right, but don't turn it too much. You don't want to put a lot of tension here. Just turn it enough you can actually feel it. Then I want you to use the right hand, use the edge of the index finger, lift up your ear, and then just kind of scrape. Now, I don't recommend you using this scraping tool here. Okay, just your finger. And then now, right below your cheekbone, right here, this is where the lymph nodes are. Okay, now I want you to massage the shoulder. First, you identify the cavity on top, and then you move down slightly, and then you feel the point that is very sore. Okay, that area, that point right here that's very sore, that's called the well on the shoulder. Then go down further. There's another one over here, and then massage the shoulder. Okay, same thing on the other side. lift up your right ear, turn your head to the left, see this muscle here, and just very straight, scrape that. And then scrape this. This is the lymph nodes. Okay. And then find that cavity on top, go down slightly, and massage that. Massage around, around, whole shoulder. Okay. All right. So very thorough, right? Very thorough, giving ourselves a full body massage. Now we are working on the face. Okay. Now I want you to start with the center of your palm again by heating hand. I want you to put it together, and then I want you to form a cavity. Put that in front of your eye. Sit up straight. Open your eye. And if you see light, move around until you don't see any light. So you're looking straight at darkness. Okay, get ready. First time. Put that on your eye. Second time. Put that on your eye. Third time. Put that on your eye. Now I want you to massage the face, starting with the forehead down to the face. Massage on the both sides of your nose, and then massage the side of the face, and then put the center of the palm on top of the um, what is temple, and then massage that. And then I want you to massage in between the eyebrow. I want to massage the corner of the eyebrow, the top of the eyebrow, and then go from in between the eyebrow to where the hair. There's a triangle right here, right, like that. And then massage this area. Massage the top of the head where the big brains are. Go around the back of the head where the memories are, and go below where the motor functions are, and then massage the neck, and then massage the top of the ear, and back to the face, again the nose, and then grab each of the fingers and massage around. Okay, now we're ready to massage the eyes. Okay, now eyes has three energy points on top, three energy points on the bottom. All right. Now there are other energy points that are good for the eye. As we age, we tend to have a lot of problems with the eye. So in addition to these three, there's one right here. The back, what I call the pound of wind, is actually a very important energy point for the eye as well. Okay, so let's learn to massage the top of the eye by taking the index finger, put it in the beginning of the eyebrow, sit up straight, press down, and you feel like a cavity. So hold it, apply pressure, and then relax. Then put two fingers, two index finger in between the eyebrow, and then massage the eyebrow as if you're squeezing the toothpaste, right? So not only are you massaging the three energy points, you're massaging the oil tubes that deliver oils into your eye to keep it from drying. Then you want to take the thumb, put that at the corner of the left eye and massage right below. You do the same thing on the other side. Then you take the index finger, you put that at the corner of the eye, but half on the corner of the eye, half on the two sides of the nose. You sit up straight, and we're going to do some eye yoga. I want you to close your eye. I want you to turn your eyebrow up as if you're looking at the ceiling, then to the right as far as you can, then down looking at the floor, and back to left. Now I want you to come back to the top, and we're going to rotate your eyeballs clockwise. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Back to up. We're going to do the counterclockwise. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Open your eyes. Very bright. For the bright eye. Now take two fingers and just massage outside until they get to the chin. Then use the index fingers and right below the eye bag, put some pressure. Outside of the nostril, put some pressure. Take the index finger and put across right here. And then massage the neck. Okay? And finally, we get to, sorry. And finally, we get to the ear. So we separate the ear into three parts. They're the opposite of our body, all right? Because they resemble the fetus. The fetus has all the energy points that ultimately grow into our body and they remain here, but it's upside down. So the top part is actually the kidney. And so we put our fingers, thumb inside, put four fingers, and just kind of massage. And then the middle, and then below, right? Below is actually a brain, okay? And then we massage the tip, and we pull on the tip. We massage the edge, massage the ear loop, and we pull on the ear loop. Then we leave the thumb behind the ear loop. We take the index finger, put it outside of the ear canal, and we massage. Then we massage the back of the ear, and this full area. We go from the top to the bottom. Then we take two fingers, we massage the top of the ear, the corner area. And as we come down, we put one fingers on the ear, one fingers on the skull, until we get to the very bottom. We massage. Okay, the side, massage, and then top, along, until we get to the bottom. Okay, we have one more exercise for the drumming of the ear. We put that behind the ear, we close, and then we go one, two, and three. All right. Okay. So we're going to speed up a little bit because we want to spend some time on the bottom of the feet. And so we're going to do a tapping of the top of the head, right? So tapping of the top of the head, this energy point right here is called the 100 meet, all the yang energy come together. So you want that to be facing the sun and on top of a central nerve system. So we stretch, we lift up our shoulder, we lean back, we open the shoulder, relax. Then we lean back the forehead, we tuck in the chin. So this one is on top of our central nerve system. Then we take 10 fingers, we put that on top. We're going to tap that 30 times as if you're playing a musical instrument. Get ready? Go. Okay? All right. Well, I mentioned this before. So one of the things you can do that would help you and put that in your everyday life. You know, the thing that we do here, we can just put it in our everyday life, but with the understanding that we're targeting energy points or energy lines. So one of the things you can do, and if you take a shower at night, I mentioned this last time, is don't go to bed with a wet hair, and then so you take your blow dryer and you just start at the top of the head, dry, 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 dry. Then the back of the head, right? Where we were working. Okay, da, 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 da. And then the belly button. Right? So let's massage the belly button just to kind of remind ourselves that this is the one area that we want to keep dry. And you start at the belly button, you increase the diameter, and then ultimately you massage the large intestine. Right? The other area is right here, right here. So you take your thumb and you just massage, and at night you take your blow dryer and you just, you know, a little bit. That's all you need. You know, you're not cooking anything. And then the other side, and then the elbow. So these are areas you want to keep dry. Okay, they're called the longevity cavity. And over here, if you think about it, that's where the lymph nodes are, but it's also the closest to your internal organ. And you say, well, how does the armpit, the elbow closest there? Well, it's where the energy goes. This is, if you feel it, it's very warm. It's very warm right here. Okay. I mentioned that the time that I climbed, the time that I was in Kenya with my son climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, it was like I got to 18,000 feet. He got to the top, which is more than 20,000. It was really cold. It was so cold. Right? I had like I don't know how many layers I have. I don't even know how many pairs of gloves I had, but it was still so cold. And finally, the only way I keep warm is to put my hand in here like this. Right? Okay, so let's continue. And I want you to learn to massage this two energy points here, which has to do with the kidney. So first you stand up, Then you put your hands around like this, where the fingers touches is the energy point that is associated with that. Okay? I want you to massage that. Then I want you to make a fist and just kind of put some pressure on that. The next exercise has to do with the one of the three tendons that are associated with longevity, just right behind your knee. So I want you to stand, locking your knee this time. Put your hands in the back, stand up straight, and then lower your upper torso and while locking your knee. So you're stretching your knee as you come down. Go down as far as you can. All right. I go as far as touching my calf. Then come back, massage some more, and go down as far as you can. And then one last time. But remember now, you're stretching this part, so you need to lock your knee. Okay. One last time. Okay. Now I want you to massage the back of the knee. Tap that 30 times. Continue. And then I want you to massage right here. This is the bottleneck for all the yin energy. And then we want to tap that 30 times by making a fist and fit it inside here. Get ready, go. Okay, so we're ready to do some do the floor exercise, Yi Jing Jing. All right, so I forgot to do the bottom of the feet. You know what I'm talking about, it's right here, right? So I want you to, this is called a gushing spring. So I want you to move your feet so you plant your bottom of your feet firmly on the ground, making sure that the energy from the earth is rising through you. Then I want you to turn your toes inward, loosening of your knee, so you activate the second heart. Remember now the 3, 2, 1, one man, 3, 1, 2. Two means second heart right here. Okay. So all through this exercise, we're activating the second heart. Then I want you to come back to the shoulder and you open your shoulder, relax the shoulder as if you're putting the well on top of the spring. Then I want you to lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin, so you put this energy point on top of the central nervous system. Finally, I want you to focus on the center of the palm. Make sure that it's facing the earth, but bring it back slightly so you feel the stress on your wrist. All right, now it helps if you do this closing your eye. So you're entirely focused on your body. Now, once you close your eye, I want you to go through the sequence. First is that you anchor your mind on the center of your palm. You anchor your eye. You close your eye, but you're actually, even with the eye closed, you're looking at the center of your palm. So the center of the palm and your eyes are one. Once you do that, then your mind is at the center of your palm. And only then will you push. Okay, ready? Go. Sending a sharp wave through your spine all the way to the top of the head. That was energetic. We were at the fight or flight. Now I want you to return to the rest and digest by focusing on your breath. It helps if you take the tip of the tongue and put it behind your teeth, close your mouth. You feel the inside of your mouth, you feel the saliva, the wetness. Then I want you to focus on the breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. And then do the second one. Okay, it's very important that you maintain the harmony between the energetic and the restorative. Second time, get ready, go. Back to the breath, one breath at a time. One last time. back to the breath. Now the second one is called pointing. So now your focus go from the palm to the finger to the thumb. You take your thumb, you point it to the hip, forming that half circle. Then you take your four fingers, you roll it up, and then you imagine that you're hanging two buckets of water on your thumbs, and you lift up your thumbs as if you're lifting up the two buckets of water. You hold it, and then you relax without lowering your hand. You back to the breath. After two breaths, second time, and then relax. Now it's very important that you focus because only then will you have saliva, and later on you can have to swallow that just as a quality measure. One last thing, one last time, and then relax. Lower your hand this time, completely relax. The next one is called the beginner's mind. The mind and the heart and the center are the same word. Beginner's mind is the baby's mind. This is what the baby do to activate the heart. So they take the thumb, they put it across the palm, they roll up with the four fingers, and then they squeeze the fist as hard as they can. And then open, relax without lowering your hand. Second time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then open and relax. And then one last time, squeeze as hard as you can. Lower your hand this time, completely relax, focusing on your breath. Feel the inside of your mouth. Then you put your fists together, put that in front of the belly button, and then you take a deep breath as you raise your fist. Then relax. Now leave the fist in front of your nose, and then you bring your elbows together. Your focus is now on the back, where there are four energy lines that come up, all associated with the bladder. Now I want you to imagine cracking that back, stretch at the back, and then relax. Second time, and then relax. And then one last time, and then relax. Now the next one is called fist above the head. You notice that when you go get blood drawn, the nurse always asks you to hold your fist because what you're doing is you're blocking the blood flow into your fingers, particularly also in the arm. That would increase the blood pressure on your heart. So this exercise actually is very cardio. It's to exercise your heart. So you put your fist on top of your head. You open the fingers. Then you roll your fist two joints. Lock it with your thumb. You open your shoulder and you squeeze. And then you let go, relax. As if you're letting the blood come back to the fingertips. You focus on your breath. You do it again, you open your shoulder, you roll your fist, and you squeeze as hard as you can. And then open your fingers, let the blood come back. And then you open the shoulder again, you squeeze, and then relax. The next one is called stabbing the shoulder. You grab two daggers, you point the dagger onto your shoulder, you open your shoulder, and this is about the energy flow that goes all the way to the back of your neck. And you stab, you feel the tightness on the back of your neck, and then you relax. Let the blood flow, energy flow to the top of your head. One breath, two breaths. Second time, stab, and then relax. One last time, stab, and then relax. Now, next one's called a cross. It's not punching, it's pushing. So I want you to feel the two trees on the side. And then I want you to rotate the wrist where there are many energy points. Then I want you to roll the fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. Bang. Bang means avalanche. Push so hard that you're causing an avalanche. It's also a way to relax. Second time. Completely relax, focusing on your breath. One last time. Okay, now same thing but front hanging. So lock your elbow, feel the tree in front, rotate your wrist, take a deep breath, hold your fist, hold your breath, and push. Second time. One last time. Okay. Now you notice this exercise combines stretching, cardio, and muscle. Okay. So now this is about retaining this muscle right here, which has to do with the heart. Okay, so you open your shoulder, you look up, you grab the bar, and you do a chin up. You pull yourself up, and then you relax. Focusing on your breath. Second time, and then relax. Open your fingers, okay? One last time, and then relax. The next one is like pulling a bow and arrow, okay? One on each side. And it's also about muscle. You pull it as hard as you can, and then relax. Second time, relax. One last time, and then relax. Now you take all your saliva and you swallow all the way down to here. Swallow. Now the next exercise has to do with the kidney. The essence of the kidney is the bone marrow. So it actually goes up the spine, and then what's inside the brain is the seed of marrow. Now, so it's important that you do a couple of things. One is that you make sure that your knee is unlocked. You make sure that your toes are pointed inward, so you're activating the calf. You want to make sure that your back is straight, and then you put your hands together like this, and you lower your upper body. You're pointing your head down, all the way down, and you lock your elbow. Back of the hand touching. Okay, ready? Squeeze your fist. Relax, back of the hand touching. Focusing on your breath. Second time. And then one last time. All right, so now the next one you have to do it in a continuous sequence. So you have the palm facing up, you unlock your knee, you take a deep breath, and then breathe out, breathe in, palm facing forward. You see this big rock in front of you, go push, and then you take a deep breath, and then you breathe out. Completely relaxed, okay? All right, so we have time to meditate. So I talk about metta meditation. I talk about the walking monks, how every stop they would do their customary chant, and the chant is in Pali, and it's a very common chant, but basically they repeat the name of Buddha. Now, one might think, well, I thought Buddha only had one name. It's called Buddha. Well, Buddha is one of the 10 names, and each name represents a merit. And Buddha means Bu, which means awaken. Da is the one who's awakened. That's the most commonly used. So you would hear things like Namo Buddhaya, right? That's paying homage, taking refuge with Buddha. But then every once in a while you hear another phrase that suppose something like this. Namo tasso bhagavato arato sama sambuddhassa. There's three other names associated with Buddha. Bhagavato is the teacher. Arato is someone who has practiced to be an arahant. And then sama sambuddhassa means that they have achieved awakening through the self practice as well as their uh, compassion to others. Right? So you would hear them repeating. There are 10. Now, I'm going to post an article that I wrote many years ago on Patreon that describes all those 10 names. And I'll post it when I get off class. And it's a good thing to know. Okay. Now, so after they do the chant, they would guide you through a metta meditation, which means loving kindness. But I mentioned before, the building blocks for metta is gratitude and forgiveness. And the prerequisites for forgiveness is acceptance. And everything starts with self. It's important to be grateful to yourself first, and then also to forgive yourself and to accept yourself for some of the things that you look back, maybe you could have done better. So always start with self. Help yourself before you help others. All right. So we're going to start with gratitude and acceptance. Then we're going to walk towards compassion and love and kindness. But before we do anything, let's come back to the posture. I want you to sit properly by focusing on your lower back. I want you to move up your spine as if you're relieving the pressure on your spiral disc by lifting up your spine, stretching your joints, one joint at a time until you get to the very top of your head. Then I want you to lean back. I want you to try leaning back beyond your comfort level. Get to a point you feel like, oh boy, I'm going to fall over. Now, this is important. I'll come back to that. And then relax. So when you breathe in, I want you to go from the bottom of your spine towards the top of the head, stretch the spine. And then when you breathe out, I want you to lean back as far as you can and relax. Now let's do that for 3 minutes. Just going through your breathing. For those of you who practiced pranayama with me last week and then also next week, you get to a point where you actually doing breathing with your stomach. So when you breathe in, you feel that your stomach slightly opens, then you move up the spine. As you breathe out, you feel your stomach collapses slightly, and that's when you come down and lean back and relax. Now I want you to think about what you're doing here. When you breathe in, you're taking oxygen from the universe, from our habitat, what we call Earth. You get the same amount of oxygen no matter who you are, what's the color of your skin, what gender, what's your preference, what's your social status, what's your net worth. It doesn't matter. You can get the same amount of oxygen like everybody else, completely free. And I want you to think about where the oxygen comes from. It comes from the forest, comes from the park, comes from the tree. Who's guarding the forest? Who's guarding the park? Who's guarding the trees? There are many beings who coexist on this earth, this planet Earth. We call ourselves human being. We forgot that we are being first. I want you to feel grateful for all the other beings maintaining the harmony as hard as they can to make sure that we have plenty of oxygen. Once you get to the top of your head and you breathe out, I want you to lean back as much as you can until you feel anxiety because you say, oh, I'm going to fall off. You feel the fear. That anxiety and the fear is your negative energy. They can be attachment. We all are attached to comfort, to safety. Once we leave our comfort and our safety, we start to have anxiety. The anxiety is negative energy. But I want you to just feel that anxiety, feel that danger, feel that fear, but let go of it because you're not falling. You're still here. And I want you to take that from the top of your head as if you have a pond at your stomach, a lotus pond. A lotus pond is a wonderful thing. It looks really, really calm, but yet underneath is full of mud. I want you to imagine that your anxiety, the negative energy, are like the mud underneath all the calmness. But if you follow those mud, then you're disturbing your own calmness. You're disturbing the calmness on top of the pond. So I want you to just settle that negative energy as if you're settling it all the way to the bottom of the pond, accepting it as it is, and just let it fall to the bottom of the pond. So not only are you practicing your breathing technique, you are practicing gratitude as you breathe in, and you're practicing acceptance as you breathe out. You learn to be grateful to yourself, grateful for this body, grateful for this health. And from here, you learn to be grateful to your family, to your parents, to your spouse, to your children, to your brothers and sisters, to everyone in your family, whether they give you pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. Many times the family members are the one that gives you unpleasant feeling. But I want you to be grateful to them anyway and wishing them peace, health, and happiness because you're grateful to yourself. If you're not even grateful to yourself, how could you be grateful to others? If you don't forgive yourself, if you don't accept yourself as who you are, how do you accept others as who they are? The reason that you see people along the road as these monks walk, the reason that you see these people, whether black or white, rich or poor, that they open up to these monks because these monks are enlightened. They don't judge. They are full of compassion and loving kindness and empathy and equanimity. It's like the sun shining through the hindrances, shining through the black cloud. And it has an effect on people. It allows them to open up themselves, push away the black cloud, push away the hindrances, and to be one with the monks. And this is what we need to do, is we learn to push away all our negative energy. But we start with gratitude. Be grateful of the beings, be grateful of ourselves, be grateful of our family, whether they cause us pleasant or unpleasant feeling. Just be grateful and accept ourselves as who we are. Not let others judge us and impose on us their expectation, but to accept us as who we are. When we look back, we have things that we didn't do right, we didn't do well, we didn't do enough. especially when it deals with family members who are passing away. There's always regret, but you did the best you can. I did the best I can, and you learn to accept that. You learn to forgive yourself. Now think about sometimes whether you want it or you don't want it, whether you're intentional or intentional, you have caused harm to other people. You know better now. So you have to learn to accept yourself, forgive yourself, that if you have a chance to do it again, you would do better. But if you could forgive yourself, perhaps you can forgive others, especially those who have caused harm in you. And it's only through gratitude and acceptance, it's only through gratitude of yourself and accepting yourself that you can learn to be grateful to others and learn to accept others. And once you have that as your building blocks, you're ready for ready for loving kindness meditation. It's very simple. The monks do it. Sometimes I notice they do it in Pali, and sometimes I notice that they do it in English. The simplest way to do a loving kindness meditation is to just remember this one Pali phrase. Sabe sata sukhi hantu. Sabe means all. Sata means beings, whether they're animals in the forest, guarding the forest, providing your lifeline to oxygen, or they're beings who are among your family, among your friends, in the society, in a country, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, whether you're black or white, they're all just beings. Sabe Sata means all beings, all equal. Sukhi means safe and happy. And finally, Handu means it is my wish. I wish that all beings are safe and happy and healthy and peaceful. But I start with myself. I want myself to be happy, to be safe, to be healthy, to be at peace. I want the same energy for my family, and I wish them to be safe and happy and healthy and peaceful. I want all my neighbors to be safe and happy. I want the people who live in my same city to be safe and happy. I want everyone, all the beings, whether they're big and small, whether they're humans or non-humans, whether they're visible or non-visible, I want them to be safe and happy and healthy and peaceful. Sabe sata paya may all beings be free from animosity and negative energy. Sabi satam may all beings be free from mental suffering. Sabi may all beings be free from physical suffering. Sabi and protected by positive energy. Let's repeat this simple phrase 3 times. Sabe Sada Suki Hantu. Sabe Sada Suki Hantu. Sabe Sada Suki Hantu. May all beings be free, be safe, be healthy, be happy, and be peaceful. Namaste. Okay. All right. Go follow these guys. Okay. They're pretty amazing. They're pretty amazing. And just simple things that they do can influence so many people, um, and be able to bring so many people together, irrespective of religion. And they were practicing what the Christians practice, what Jesus represents, which is loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and empathy. How great is that? All right. So I'll see you all next week. Let's keep it up. And as I mentioned, there's a very good chance that starting next year that we'll be able to do a physical meet in Oakland, California. So keep that in mind. And if you want to be part of the mailing list, knowing keeping up with the what's going to happen, just send me an email. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay. 星期一見。
Thank you，
OK，拜拜，多謝大家支持。
多謝感恩，
OK，拜，
感恩，
感恩。OK，拜拜，拜拜。
拜拜。